which will be delivered by the Deal Flow Facility. And there are two interesting, experienced finance people that will be taking us through that program. And then after lunch, we'll have a second pitching session. It is planned for 2:30 p.m. if all goes well. And after which we shall go to the one-on-one sessions. So as the entrepreneurs are making their business case, the investors will have to book a meeting for the person they see fits their criteria or someone they are interested in. We are going to do that by scanning this QR code, which is on the agenda. In case anyone has missed it, the team can pass around and share with you. There's a QR code in the corner of the agenda, and as an investor, you will have to scan this QR code and book a time slot for a one-on-one meeting with the enterprise you're interested in having a conversation with. That will be between 3:30 to 5 p.m. So to prevent overlap of meetings, you'll find specific time slots, and the system will be able to inform you whether the person is available at that specific time so that you can have a conversation. With that said, allow me introduce Einstein Rising, which has been heavily involved in the preparations leading to this deals room activity today. And I would like to thank the EU and SB4U platform that invited us to prepare, to participate in the preparation of this activity. Einstein Rising is a social enterprise ecosystem builder whose main focus is to support social enterprises achieve their initiatives that are enabling positive impact in their communities, to support them to become more sustainable through our capacity building programs, and also supporting them to access finance. How we do this is through the programs that we run as a company. For starters, we have the ST4A program, that is the Sustainable Technology for Africa program that focuses on investment readiness through training delivered by our experienced facilitators. And then we also support them with access to investment through institutions like OVO, who are our investment partners, and some individuals. Through that, we also recommend these enterprises that fit criteria of other investors to those specific investors, so that once they meet those requirements, of course, so that they can accelerate their growth and achieve their goals. We also have an SETV program, which promotes sustainable business practices through the stories that they tell to inspire business community to embrace sustainability for a more environmentally cautious business landscape. And through that, they carry out some green reporting to allow us have all that information and also share it with the ecosystem. We also run a program called the STEP program, which is the Skills Training and Employment Preparation Program, of which through this program, we are enabling these entrepreneurs get access to interns from all over the world, just with a focus on knowledge exchange and to allow them get fresh ideas that will allow them navigate the market better or improve their operations. So with that said, that is Einstein Rising in a nutshell. We are going to get onto our program, which is going to start with two speeches. We are going to have a speech from our CEO, Mr. Brian Mangeni. Okay, not a speech, just some welcoming remarks from him, who will then invite the program coordinator for the EU, who is Christina Banuta, who is here with us, to also give us some welcoming remarks, and then we shall dive into the rigorous pitching exercise. And with that said, allow me invite Mr. Brian Mangeni to share some opening remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Raymond. Good morning, everyone. Just to get a feel of the room, how many are on the investor side? And how many are entrepreneurs? Okay, So I think it's a good match. I hope that we'll be able to make some deals in the deals room today. Uh, I would like to first of all welcome all of you to the deals room. We are so happy that the EU is making the deals room a vital part of all the events that they are holding since last year, and we have gone through a process with especially the entrepreneurs over the past months or weeks in order to get to know you, while at the same time we are getting to know the investors, and we are trying to make sure we mix and match you the best way possible in order to make deals happen. As much as you're going to pitch, I believe that most of the connections will be made when you have one-on-one sessions, which we are going to organize in the afternoon. So we are really looking forward to a productive day. I will not take too much time, but invite Christina, who is the programs manager, access to finance at the EU, to say some words, and then we get straight into it.
Thank you very much, Brian. Um, Good morning, everyone. I'm Christina Banuta, Programs Manager, Access to Finance for SMEs, Agribusiness and Land at the European Union delegation based here in Kampala. I'm delighted to welcome you this morning to our second edition of the Deals Room within the Uganda EU Business Forum. As Brian mentioned, it's becoming a habit, and I think it's a very good habit. I'm particularly very proud of this side event that we're organizing within the Uganda EU Business Fora. Yes, mine is just to thank all the partners that have helped us put this together, mainly Einstein Rising, who has helped us select the entrepreneurs who will be pitching here today, and who has also helped us curate the list of investors that are here today. I would like to also thank Financial Sector Deepening Uganda, with whom we work to implement the Deals Flow Facility program, meant at matchmaking entrepreneurs with investors also, but looking at amounts at ticket sizes higher than €500,000. I would also like to thank Einstein Rising's partners, OVO, Entrepreneurs for Entrepreneurs, who has been heavily involved in the due diligence process, which has been much more rigorous this year than last year. I would like to thank all the entrepreneurs that have stepped up for this challenge today, and also all the investors in the room who were very interested this year in the deals room organized under the forum. So thanks to everyone involved for making this happen, and I truly hope that you find this useful, and that indeed some deals are either started or even done today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Christina. Just like she said, thank you, the entrepreneurs, for being brave enough to start businesses. We know that it's not an easy journey to start on. Thank you, the investors, for having the heart to take the risk to invest in entrepreneurs. So we really hope that we are going to bring these two brave souls together at the end of the day. So with that, back to you, Raymond. Thank you, everyone, and welcome to the Deals Room.
Thank you so much, Brian and Christina, for those welcoming remarks. In the interest of time, we are going to dive into the pitching exercise. But before that, I would like every investor in the room to have an agenda. So if you don't have an agenda and you're an investor, please raise your hand and the team will be able to share with you. This agenda is for the QR code that is in the corner here. You're meant to scan this QR code, and it's through that QR code that you'll book a meeting with the entrepreneur that you're impressed with. So does everyone have? I saw a couple of hands there. I think that's also done. There is a small alternative option for anyone that has issues maybe with their telephone or with their network. If you have any technical difficulty, there is a card that is going to be distributed to you. So you just have to raise your hand and the team will will attend to you, share with you a card, and you can take note on that card the entrepreneur that you're interested in seeing. So without wasting any more time, I'm going to invite our first enterprise of the day to give us their pitch. So Elvis Kadama from Esimat, please make your way. Remember, it's 4 minutes strictly, and we are timing. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Elvis Kadama, co-founder and CFO at Izemat Africa. We are a great tech company that provides access to agricultural inputs and services through an e-commerce platform. It's not working. Izemat, we are trying to solve a challenge of access to agricultural inputs to smallholder farmers, especially those who are based in underserved communities. They face a challenge of agro input shops, inputs, and also access to knowledge and training so that they can get information on better farming practices, which can help them to increase yields and incomes, and also access to market for their agri-food produce. So after realizing these challenges, we came up with a solution, which is Izemat, an e-commerce platform, which enables farmers to source inputs, to order inputs that we source from certified suppliers and manufacturers based here in Uganda. So our platform is very easy. It has a user-friendly interface. It can be accessed on every device. And next slide. It can be accessed on every device, a smartphone, a laptop, and we're also working to develop a USSD code for those farmers who don't have access to internet and smartphones, so they can access using their feature phones. We are targeting a market of 18.2 million smallholder farmers across Uganda, and this is evidenced by a rising smartphone penetration and internet connectivity of all farmers across Uganda. And this puts Izemat in the right position to tap into this market. With that, we are looking at a total available market of 3.9 billion US dollars, which is projected to increase to that tune by year 2030. And what we can serve is 50% of the total available market, giving us 1.9 billion US dollars. And currently, we are able to serve 20% of the serviceable available market, giving us a value of 390 million US dollars. So we are able to reach our customers through our website, social media platforms, partnership with telecom companies, MTN and Airtel, and those offering bulk SMS services, CBOs, NGOs, cooperatives, as well as working with the agripreneurs. These are the ambassadors we put on village level to make sure we reach the last mile farmer. We are a profit-making business as we make money through direct sale of inputs to smallholder farmers, and also offering extension services. And this one is charged from the partners like cooperatives, NGOs, and CBOs working directly with these farmers to pay for training fees on behalf of farmers. So we launched in 2022, and we've been progressing steadily. 2023, we were able to serve 2,100 smallholder farmers, and we made a revenue of 25,500 US dollars in revenue, and we were able to raise 22,000 in funding. 2024, we raised 3,000. We impacted 3,000 farmers and were able to make 32,000 US dollars in revenue. So we are not alone in the market, and what makes us unique is that we are running an e-commerce platform which is easier for each farmer. Digital payments, farmers are able to make payment through mobile money, bank transfers, as well as serving the last mile farmer in rural communities. So it's okay.
So unfortunately, it's time up and we have to move to the next. But thank you so much, Elvis.
Welcome.
You can have a seat. Next up, we are going to have Priyanka from AgroSahas, please.
Okay, hello everyone. I am Priyanka Sarode from AgroSahas. Imagine the heartbreak of a farmer who dedicates their life to grow food for others is dying from starvation. If people who are growing food for us can't survive, something is deeply broken in the system. So during the peak of COVID pandemic, we started AgroSahas, Africa's first organic agri-tech company. With the power of technology, we are looking forward to change the fortune of 100 million farmers by the end of 2035. Despite being the home to 82 million farmers, our region imports basic food, which can be produced right here. Sorry.
Sorry, we have to pause a bit. I think the wrong pitch was brought up for you. So in all fairness, we have some technical difficulties and we have to pause. Narath, are you able to bring up the correct one? Okay. So just to again walk you through how you're going to book the meetings. Basically, you start by scanning the QR code that's on the agenda. And after scanning, you'll select the entrepreneur. And after that, you will select the time slot, the specific time slot you'd like to meet this entrepreneur. With that said, if you don't have access to internet or you have challenges with your device, you can access a card that is being distributed by the team, and you can use this to set up, to book the meeting. So Priyanka, you have an opportunity to begin again. Thank you.
I should take this one. So should I start from the start? Oh, yes, okay. Hello everyone. I will introduce myself again. I am Priyanka from AgroSahas. So as I told, despite being the home to 82 million farmers, East Africa is importing the basic food which can be produced right here. Why? Because the farmers don't have the access to tools, the infrastructure, and the knowledge to compete. So, AgroSA has created the digital ecosystem, digital ecosystem called DigiFarmer app, enabled by uh, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and satellite. We are connecting 14,000 farmers. We are connecting 14,000 farmers with the trainings, the market linkage, and we are procuring from them directly and supplying it to the agro processors. This circularity in our business ensures that we build the sustainable solution. Our ecosystem is continuously growing. Today, we have 14,000 subscribers on our DigiFarmer app, 70 agents, 21 agro processors, and 120 vendors. Only in Uganda, and huge opportunities possible in Kenya and Tanzania. Why AgroSahas? Why DigiFarmer app? Because we provide one-stop solution for the farmers to increase their productivity, income by 50% by reducing the cost on inputs and increasing their productivity. These are some of the pictures where the farmers are receiving training from our DigiFarmer agents. So, AgroSahas draws its competitive edge from its robust farmer integration, which is enabled by our platform. The opportunity is vast. Only East Africa's edible oil and animal feed business is worth $34 billion. But the real opportunity lies with the untapped potential of these farmers. AgroSahas isn't just a business, it's a revolution of a home. In last 4 years, we have seen the farmers have increased their income by 22%. Their children are going to school and families are eating better. If we see the impact on the environment, in last 4 years, we have saved 4,000 metric ton in food losses and 2,500 metric ton in greenhouse gas emission. By optimizing the whole supply chain for climate resilience and adaptation. Despite being the young company, we have already reached the financial profitability. Our net profit is growing 28% year on year. And in the immediate future, with the focus on technology, we are expected to drastically boost our revenues. To take it to the next level, we are raising $3.5 million we are raising $3.5 million to procure more from the farmers to increase the capacity and for the processing and to reach the new market in East Africa. After funding, we are expected to grow at least 10x in revenues and profitability. This is our core team. Combined, we have 45 years of experience in technology, marketing, and finance. And we are supported by a strong advisory board in legal, communication, and fundraising. In the short period of time, we have built an impressive network of partners, which includes wholesale buyers and vendors, which are listed on our DigiFarmer app to connect to the farmers. DigiFarmer is scalable, sustainable, and deeply impactful. We can rewrite the future of East Africa by agriculture. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Priyanka. So now we are taking a minute for the investors. If you're interested in AgroSahas, please scan the QR code and book an appointment with them. And in the meantime, our next presenter is coming from AgriShare, Mr. Paul Zake. I hope you're ready. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. My name is Paul Zake, and I'm a co-founder and as well MD AgriShare. At AgriShare, we have a digital platform. It's more like a Uber, but we do it for farmers, where the farmers can hire orient agricultural resources, so that they can be able to produce more and as well earn more. The way why we do it is because if we count 100 farmers, you'll find only one is using a tractor. If you count 100 acres, you'll find only 1 acre is being irrigated. There is a lack of access to equipment amongst the farmers. It's expensive to buy. How we come in, we partner with the people who own the idle resources and the idle equipment, so then they can be able to hire them to the farmers who want. Then, of course, as a business model, we earn a commission through it. It's very easy, scalable, in that you just go to the mobile app. If you have any idle land, you click plus, then you click plus on it, you add the details, and then it will be verified. Then other people can be able to hire it effectively. We have a strong team, lean, which is driving key things. For example, making impact and as well growing traction. Currently, we have over 79,000 users on the app. We have over 4,000 listings on the app. These ones are sharing. I think only you who is remaining if you're a farmer and in this room. But also, most importantly, is our farmers are benefiting. For example, Nalong, who is renting 23 acres. For example, Mukurubega, who is renting 1 acre from the platform, and many others. Our revenue is growing very rapidly, and it's mostly from various services, whether irrigation, farm jobs, farmland, tractor, among others. And the market potential is very big, over 16 billions. So the market potential is big. I will repeat that one. We can share that one together if you hear my ask at the end and you feel persuaded to be able to join it. Of course, our strategy on the competition, there is competition, but we're already partnering with existing competitors. Just in January, we already partnered with their tractor, where we are competing on the tractor space. But also we have many partners. For example, in government organization, companies, among others. We are very unique, of course, based on the competition. That's why we are able to partner with them. For example, we have both the digital aspect of our business, but also offline aspect of our business, which enable us to serve the farmers who are digital, but as well those ones who are not digital. Currently, we are asking for $500,000, and of that one, some goes into increasing the user base and listings, and some also goes into acquiring more equipment, and then some goes into getting sure that we improve our digital platform. Thank you so much. Still, I remain Pozake. Feel free to link up with me. Feel free to check online and check for AgriShare app. Download it, check it out. You might think, is this real? Check it out. It's available online. Check it out, download it, and be able to also join other farmers who are already sharing. Just as I can turn my back like this, you can read what's there. Yeah, we are using AgriShare app. Are you using AgriShare app as yet? If you not, please join. But also, if you know any farmer, please join. But also, if you can invest, come we share the profits, because you had the $16 billion. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Paul. So now we are actually going to take a real minute of time to book appointments with Paul for a one-on-one meeting in the afternoon. So please scan the QR code, access the platform, select the entrepreneur, and book a time slot in which to have a conversation, and let's make some deals get done. So please, those who have just joined us, the QR code is on the agenda. That's the QR code you're scanning to book a meeting. In case you're facing some technical challenges, you can also opt for the card. The team at the back is supplying these cards, and you can manually book an appointment on the card, and then our IT team will set up for you. Yeah. So thank you. Our next speaker is coming from Alfrex Holdings. Mr. Kameli, make your way, please. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Zephyr Wambale. I'm from Alfrex Holdings Uganda Limited, and we are into sand mining, quarrying, and brick making. So we are basically a mining company, and we are into the supply of construction materials. And we are located in Kasese, Western Uganda. Our vision is what we are doing there and what we aim to do is sustainable mining and effective resource management, but also quarrying and production, and then the logistics and supply chain. So the opportunity at hand, or what others call a problem, is that there is a growing demand for raw materials, especially with the urbanization of Uganda, especially in western Uganda. We now have municipalities coming up. We are also having cities coming up in western Uganda. So there is a growing demand for these construction materials. There is also a supply gap where when you go to the market, you find some inefficiencies in the construction materials. But also there are environmental concerns where when mining is taking place, it is really making a negative impact on the environment. So what where the where yes, we are bridging the gap by making timely supplies, but also delivering the right qualities and so on. So we are also doing sustainable practices. For instance, some of the things we are doing is that in a radius of every 1 kilometer, we are making sure that we are working with those communities to make sure we are planting trees within the areas where we are mining, so that we should be able to protect the environment. We're also providing a reliable service. When you order today, the same quality you get today, it is the same quality you get tomorrow. Yeah. So our products include the river sand, especially from rivers like Nyamamba. Those who have read about Kasese and Western region, you will understand that it is having a lot of freshwater rivers, and these rivers always flood. So, but when they flood, we take the advantage to desilt the rivers, but also use this sand as a building material. Yeah. So we are also into maram. Maram is one of the building materials. It is locally produced. It is in the form of clay soil. We are also into bricks and aggregates. These are small stones we use when we are constructing. So getting the available market is 200. And with our means, we can reach 1,000, but we are targeting at least 2,000 clients per year. So currently we have 200 clients, so we are looking at 2,000 per year. So our financials, when you look at our last year profit, we had 3,500, and in 2025 we are looking at 218,000 in revenue and a profit of 36,000. So we've been able to secure some contracts, and we have been able to legalize our company. Our staff have increased, and we have some mining sites leased. That is our part of the management team, and we are looking for $100,000 in the form of equity or loan, and we want to buy automated mining equipment at that cost, and also invest in some of the operations. So I thank you so much. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Zephyr, for keeping time. So again, we are taking a minute to book an appointment with Zephyr if you're interested in supporting their enterprise to grow and to achieve their goals of 2025. For those who have just joined us, if you need to book an appointment with the entrepreneur, you're going to scan the QR code on the agenda. So everyone should have an agenda, scan the QR code, select the entrepreneur, and book a time slot within which to have a meeting with them. So we are taking a minute for that. And in the meantime, our next presenter, Emmanuel from Everland, you can get ready, but please let's book those appointments. In case you don't have the QR code or you're facing technical difficulty, there's a card on which you can book manually. This card is readily available. The team will serve you. All you need to do is raise your hand. Yeah. So you can start, Emmanuel.
Good morning. Yeah, my name is Emmanuel. I'm from Everland Agritech Limited. We basically work with smallholder farmers. We are a B2B digital platform, and we're supporting smallholder farmers access quality seeds for planting on credit. This is because farmers incur over 30% of their production costs to be able to access quality seeds for planting. And if they are unable, it literally means they are reducing their harvests by over 60%. That is why Everland comes in to increase harvests of farmers, but as well as increase household income. We basically do this by working with farmer groups and farmer cooperatives. We digitize them via our very easy platform. It is very easy to navigate, and we work with agents. In most cases, these are group leaders that we work with directly to make sure that our technology goes deeper into even the hard-to-reach areas. We also have an online farmers marketplace on our platform. This basically enables farmers, after increasing their produce, they can now get to sell to the best buyers who give them the best prices, because there is a big challenge with farmers selling to middlemen who take over 50% of their profits. This is basically how it works. It is as simple as a farmer group applies via our platform. We receive the order, and then seeds are delivered to the respective groups as per the orders received. We work in a total addressable market of over $2 billion US. We can easily command 20 million, but in the next 2 to 3 years, we look forward to commanding $2 million US. We started our research and development way back in 2020. In 2021, we incorporated, and in 2023, we were able to test our first prototype into the market, and we've been growing over time. Our sales channels are basically simple. We access our customers majorly through word of mouth. Groups keep growing exponentially, but we also get partner engagements, but also through such engagements, we are able to meet our potential partners. Yeah, our competitive edge lies basically in the simplicity of our model. It is very simple and easily understood by farmers, because this is basically what they do. They've been practicing this with the traditional approach, but now we are digitizing the same model so that they are even able to flexibly pay in form of produce, not cash. These are our revenues. In 2020, we had quite of a decline. That is because we were pivoting from an agri-fintech to an agri-tech, from giving farmers cash to giving them seeds. And we hope to grow over time depending on the number of users that we onboard on our platform. These are our growth plans, and we hope to increase our revenue to $30,000 US by end of this year, 2025. This is the team, and together we bring over 35 years of progressive experience, spanning from business administration, marketing, agriculture, and climate tech. If you're an investor in the room with a check of $70,000 US, we are happy to sign it and take it home with us. This basically will help us serve farmers who are already on our waiting list, but also be able to develop our technology further to especially onboarding more users, and it can be in form of debt, but we also open to discussions of equity and convertible notes, depending on the terms if they favor our working type. Thank you so much.
Wow, less than 4 minutes. Well done. Again, if you're interested in supporting Everland, signing some checks for them today, again, you can book a one-on-one session with them by scanning the QR code. We are taking a minute off to book that appointment before the next speaker can come in. In case of any technical difficulty, there's a card. Please request a card, and at least we'll be able to communicate with the entrepreneur and set up that meeting for you. So next up, we have Nabasa Achi of Springtime Technologies. Please, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nabasa, and I'm the founder of Springtime. Yes, Springtime is a financial technology services provider. More than 300 million smallholder farmers and agribusinesses across Africa are still lacking access to secure financial services. This mainly due to financial exclusion in rural communities that are underserved by banks and also limited banking and payment solutions available for the agriculture sector. We've developed a software called Spring Pesa, and it's provided a software service. It is accessible via mobile and web. The platform offers real-time reporting and cash reconciliations for the farmers. It also comes with AI tools to help with farmer financial transactions. We are cheaper in the market, so if you use us as a farmer, you save more money. And we can also reach the deepest area in Africa through our Spring Pesa agent banking network. Basically, we enroll the customer. I'll create for you the accounts, transaction accounts, or commission accounts in case you're an agent. And we give you credentials to secure your wallet, and you're able to initiate payments using your mobile device or web, or you can use any of our Spring Pesa pay points. Our term is Africa, and it's 192 billion US dollars. Those are 350 million people. Our sum is 19 billion US dollars, and our obtainable market is 1.92 billion US dollars. Springtime is one of the fintech providers that are 10% lower compared to the competition. We already have a comprehensive agent banking network. We are already offering full coverage of mobile money aggregation, that's MTN and Airtel. We have a comprehensive wallet platform, and I think down it, we already have AI tools to help in our financial transaction payments. Part of our distribution of our product, we are leveraging on local agents. Basically, these are supposed to help us with enrollment and recruitment. We are handling our partnerships with agribusinesses and farmer cooperatives, and already integrating our platform into e-commerce platforms and digital marketplaces, basically to facilitate payments for all agricultural services and products. Our revenue is based on transactions, and the more transactions that we can process, the more money we earn. We earn a flat fee per wallet transaction. We also earn money through subscription model, and also having partnerships with vendors and services providers. These are like MTN and other telecommunication companies. We have 95% customer retention rate, and we have more than 600,000 active wallet accounts. And we already have 5 key strategic partnerships, and we have more than 1,000 agents already onboarded onto our agent banking network. Last year, we were signing an MOU with FSME, basically to get as many businesses onto the platform. This year, we're looking at increasing product outreach. By next year, we are supposed to convert all SMEs in East Africa into paying customers. And by 2027, we must be spreading out throughout the whole of Africa. We have a team which is experienced in fintech, that's a financial technology service provider, agent banking, and this ensures that the product we are providing is international, and it's a good one for the market. With a commitment of 10K from our internal company, we are seeking a pre-seed investment of 20K into the business, and basically for product feature development, marketing and sales, and product branding. Thank you.
Well done. I see we are now getting in the rhythm of using the 4 minutes. So again, we are taking a minute specifically to book appointments with our entrepreneurs to ensure that they can get some funding and their growth can be supported. So for those that have just joined us, Again, you're going to scan a QR code that is on the agenda. In case you don't have one, the team can provide you with one. Scan the QR code, select the entrepreneur, and book a time slot between 3:30 p.m. and 5 p.m. when you'll be able to have a one-on-one meeting with them to maybe for them to share more insights about their business and also to see what offer you can accord them. So we are taking a minute just to book appointments. Once that minute is done, I will invite the next speaker. So our next speaker can make their way. It's going to be Mr. Malik Musumba from Triple J Import and Export, or Kiso Fresh. Thank you.
Right. Hello, everyone. Prior to 2020, as you've heard, our company was involved in export. However, one of the key and most pressing challenges we faced was the fact that we didn't know where to source produce from. That was a very big challenge, where to source produce from, at how much, when, and all these other questions. Now, one of the problems and we faced and how we solved them was curating a database of smallholder farmers across the nation so that we know when best to source and when and from whom. When COVID hit, we decided to look inward and decided to start Kiso Fresh, something that looked inwards to serve the market. By 2022, we had achieved product market fit with the highest grocery ratings, with delivery under 35 minutes across 7 branches in Kampala. As of 2024, we have scaled into the B2B segment, and we're trying to provide and curate our database to other exporters, such as ourselves and processors and the likes. And that's how we started with the Kiso Index. The Kiso Index is a modern data-driven aggregator that enables processors, exporters, and global importers to source produce directly from smallholder farmers. According to the International Trade Journal, it says that 53% of farms find difficulty in finding reliable partners ensuring contract fulfillment. Of those that were also surveyed, 41% say they did not want to deal with issues related to overseas and tax and financial. So to quantify the search costs that we mentioned moving around the country, we found some numbers for Nigeria and China, and that stands about $650 million. Our solution leverages artificial intelligence, which helps to match buyers and sellers efficiently on the platform, blockchain that ensures traceability as per the EUDR, and machine learning for predictive price analysis. Evidence says that farms that use data in their processes reduce expenses by about 49%, and we've seen that using data has been able to reduce price dispersion by 13%, enabling farmers get about 6.5% increase in profit. Our market size stands about 2.3 billion, and that is the Ugandan value of agriculture exports, but we're targeting only about 1% of that, which is about $17 million. Our business model is both subscription and transaction based, in the sense that we only ask for 3% of total volume sourced through our platform, and also we charge subscriptions based off we charge a tiered subscription plan for price and data analysis. Our competitors are Selena Omuchi, Famunera, and TrueTrade, though a like-for-like competitor would be Selena, as the rest are just merely sourcing platforms and not data platforms. We are at the intersection of blockchain, emerging technologies, and analytics. So far, we have over 15,000 farmers on our platform across value chains, and we have done over $1.5 million in volumes, netting us 50,000 in revenue. We're currently asking for 350,000 that would show, that would in mezzanine that would improve our revenues to about 1.2. This will be for securing warehousing and also making sure that we profile more smallholder farmers onto the platform and securing produce. We have a team of about 25 years experience combined with myself, masters in finance with a background in commodity trading. My co-founder is into exports, having had 10 years of export experience. Nicholas in AI. These are some of the testimonials you can see. We've helped Blue Hippo International source over 12 tons of avocado weekly for Volio. These are our partners, the United Nations Conference of Trade and Development, International Trade, and COSME. Thank you very much.
Right on time. Thank you so much for that presentation. It's now time for our investors to take this opportunity, a minute to just book the appointment. We gave it a minute because we know maybe sometimes network can be slow, but for now you only need to scan the QR code. For those that have just joined us, scan the QR code that's on the agenda, and through that QR code, you're able to see the list of entrepreneurs, and you can select the entrepreneur you'd like to meet and book a time slot. The time slots for the one-on-one meetings will be in the afternoon again at between 3:30 p.m. and 5, tentatively. And that is when the deals will actually be made, we hope, and some checks will be signed today. So in case you don't have a gadget that can allow you access the QR code, there is also this card that the team is able to provide you with. And once you register someone you're interested in meeting, they will help you secure that meeting. They will contact the entrepreneur and help you book the appointment. So I think that's about it for now. Let me invite our next presenter, Mr. Nangai from Microvest. You can make your way to the stage, and as they pull up your slides, then you will start your pitch. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Zachary Anangai. I am the CEO and co-founder of Microvest. Allow me introduce to you our farmer, Mama Nora from Soroti. Vegetables, cereals, land in Soroti. Mama Nora, like other 8 million farming households in Uganda, suffers 44% of her crop yield seasonally. And this she attributes it to counterfeits on the market, and by a Minister of Agriculture and Animal Industry, it quantifies it at 60% of the counterfeits on the Ugandan market are of counterfeit. Also, Mama Nora walks a distance of about 10 to 14 kilometers to her nearest center to acquire or to buy the inputs. Mama Nora, on harvest of her inputs, she sells it to a local dealer in Serere at the lowest prices. Mama Nora, also according to Heifer International, over 70% of farmers like Mama Nora are not able to access the credit they need in order to do the farming. This hinders crop production and causing food insecurity, and also causes low incomes to farmers like Mama Nora. As Microvest, we are building a solution where farmers like Mama Nora will be able to have easy access to agro inputs. They will have also quality and genuine inputs sourced from a number of our partners, and a market for better buyers. We know that the agriculture sector in Uganda presents an opportunity of 8 million farming households. However, about 5.6 are smallholder farmers in the country. As Microvest, we target to work with smallholder farmers in the eastern region, and our target is to work with 300,000 farmers in the eastern region. We appreciate the market players that are doing our service. However, as Microvest, we are offering ease of access, we are offering the market, we are also offering the farmers are able to have these inputs in real time. Our business model is business to business. We sell our inputs directly to our farmer and earn a margin on the linkages we make, the market linkages and the financial linkages. For the last financial year, that is 2024, we've been able to make a revenue of 76 million. And this we attribute it to our implementation of our digital web portal where farmers are enrolled, and also the expansion of our agents. However, we know that going forward, our forecast is that we will continue to grow because of our digitalization with about 14% growth. Our ask is 60,000 USD, and this money we want it to implement to finalize our USSD code so that our farmers are able to self-enroll, to also do the transactions like placing more orders on our system. And also we want to improve our IT system to have an AI analytics on our farmer so that we are able to credit score our farmer, and we're sharing data with a financer, will be able to have accurate data to our financer. We target to have to open up a store in Soroti, and this shall be able to serve us in Soroti because of the MOU we are signing with Teso Cultural Union.
Thank you.
This team has...
Thank you. In the interest of time, we are going to cut you short, but thank you for that presentation. Please, again, book an appointment with Arthur Nangai if you have that money and you can support his growth. Next, we are going to have our final pitch of the morning session, after which we will go into the masterclass. Please, Emata, Lillian, you can make your way. Again, don't forget to scan the QR code and book an appointment to the previous speech. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I am Lillian from Imata, and I want to introduce you to Nalongo, a farmer from central Uganda. Nalongo and I have many things in common. We are both women, we are both from Uganda, and we both hold leadership positions in our companies. However, there is one glaring difference. If I walked into a bank in Uganda today and asked for a loan, I would get it, but she won't. Why? Because Nalongo is a farmer. According to banks' traditional credit scoring processes, she has no security they can use to offer her a loan. Nalongo represents 80% of Uganda's working population that work in agriculture. Because they do not have the security, and the security is the land they actually use for their livelihood. How are we changing this? Imata is solving this by providing affordable digital loans to farmers. Because we know that Africa has the potential to feed the world's growing food needs. Imata's solution allows farmers to get loans through partnering with agri-companies like exporters, cooperatives, and aggregators to be able to give their farmers loans. We give their farmers loans using AI-powered credit scoring. And finally, loan origination is done using our WhatsApp chatbot. Our loans allow farmers to make the critical investments they need to make in their farms. We've seen up to 30% growth in the farmers' productivity after using our loan. Currently, we are active with 100 farmers, over 67 agri companies in coffee, dairy, oilseeds, maize, cocoa, and potatoes, and are having a 93% repayment rate. We started in 2020 and started our lending in 2021. Currently, we've disbursed up to $1.7 million in loan volume and have given out loans to over 7,000 farmers. Our average loan size is at $250 and did a pilot last year to give out over 139 insurance premium loans. Our team is a combination of both local and international expertise to solve this $240 billion problem. We are asking for $350,000 to enable us to scale to more value chains and deepen our roots in dairy, coffee, and potatoes. We want to also pilot our lending as a service, as these partners have come to us and asked us to do, to give our lending as a service, and also to increase our team. So join us as we transform farmers' lives and give access to finance to farmers like Nalongo. Join us as we transform and create digital innovation and create a world where there is food security. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lillian. Wonderful presentation. Please let us book appointments with Lillian. She's looking for small money. Again, if you didn't know, you need to scan the QR code on the agenda, and that's how you're going to book an appointment with Lillian so that you can have a conversation about that, her ask. In that regard, we are preparing for another session that is going to be delivered by the Deal Flow Facility, which is a masterclass on valuing of technology companies. You know, there's a gap there when it comes to valuation of an intangible asset. So they are going to demystify that whole agenda and also share more insights about how you can present a better business case. So I would like to invite the representative, Bobo, please.
Thank you. Can you give another hand clap to the Einstein Rising team? Thank you so much, and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Bobo Rugumayo. I'm an investment officer with the Deal Flow Facility, and we're excited to be a part of this EU Business Summit. And my role today is to facilitate a masterclass in partnership with two very experienced finance professionals. And really the background of this masterclass, or the title first of all, is Valuation for Technology and Ag Tech Companies. And the background is it's very important to support these tech entrepreneurs, these ag tech companies, just as the theme for today is the EU Forum. And one of the ways as they go through their capital raising journeys is valuation is always going to be important. I think a number of the enterprises had equity asks, and that valuation question is always going to come into play. So quickly, okay, just a minute. And I'll just briefly talk about what the Deal Flow Facility we do. So we're a technical assistance and matchmaking facility founded and housed under the Financial Sector Deepening Uganda. FSDU is an NGO that supports financial inclusion across Uganda. And our role as the Deal Flow Facility is to support growth stage companies, those that are looking to raise $500,000 and above, those that are those that have a revenue of $250,000, match them with investors. So investors such as those that have been in the room, we work with the businesses to get them investment ready, match them with investors, and in a bid to increase investment in Ugandan enterprises. We're funded by the European Union, and we have support directly from the Capital Markets Authority. And our role really is to catalyze and improve the capital markets in Uganda. In terms of how we got to today, Deal Flow Facility was officially launched in 2021. We ran a pilot in late 2021, and part of our activities for the Deal Flow Facility have been masterclasses to build the capacity of entrepreneurs and also of professionals in the market. We had our first masterclass in 2022 where we had financial projections, and in October 2024, we had a masterclass on valuations. So this masterclass spoke to all enterprises, but a very specific ask that day was, how do we look at it from a technology angle? And that also really challenged us to speak to tech companies. I mean, to speak to the challenges that tech companies face as they're doing their valuations, and try to identify some of the ways that we can support them. Hence our masterclass today. Just a few other highlights. In 2024, the Deal Flow Facility successfully closed 4 deals, 2 in financial services, and then 3 in financial services, and then 1 in agriculture, and we're looking to close a few more this year. So we're very excited about that, and it will also continue to improve our momentum. Onto our masterclass itself, I would like to invite our 2 facilitators today, George and Kenneth. Kindly come up and introduce yourselves. And really, I'm sure as you're being facilitated today, you understand why we chose these 2 specific speakers. They're very well experienced in what they do. They have a very good understanding of the technology, of the financial space, and also technology companies. And we hope that you're able to take away key learning points today. And I will be available to support you in any way possible. Thank you, George. Thank you, Kenneth.
Thank you, Bobo. I'll just check that this is working fine. Yes. So good afternoon, everyone. We have about one and a half hours to do this, but I know we're a bit pressed on time, so we'll just try and keep it sharp and short. My name is Kenneth Legacy, as it says over there. I've been at this business of investment and finance for the past 20 odd years. And in that period, I've also dabbled at entrepreneurship. So I've co-founded a few businesses. We've raised a few funding rounds in those businesses, mostly at angel seed stage. And those are some of the lessons, hopefully, I'll be sharing today. I'll allow George to introduce himself as well.
Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, my name is George Jato Tim. I'm a corporate finance professional. I've been doing it for the last 12 or so odd years. And at the moment, I'm perhaps making the transition into entrepreneurship, just like my colleague here, or probably getting back into employment. I'm still undecided on that, but I'm glad to be here and share my experiences as well with you. Thank you very much.
So you're going to be having the Kenneth and George show, and we'll be going through the content interchangeably. We'll try to keep it lively and interesting. I know valuation can be a dry subject, and as I was reflecting and I saw the slides from the entrepreneurs, they're all very colorful, very few words. I can't say mine are going to be the same, but I hope you'll take away the lessons from the session today. So just to get into the objectives and the agenda, therefore, for the entrepreneurs in the room, we'll quickly go through just defining what evaluation is and why you do them. I'll look at that. We'll then discuss the challenges and opportunities that may affect valuation and opportunities in emerging markets. We'll look then at how investors, from the investor point of view, what are they assessing when they are going to do evaluation?
because the expectation is that for entrepreneurs in the room, you start to think like the investors would do, and you see their point of view. And then finally, we'll look at some of these valuation methods as we apply them to tech businesses or ag tech businesses. And there'll be examples in there. So I'll do some of the sessions and then I'll hand over to George. We'll both be standing up here. I hope it won't be awkward, but we'll see how it goes. So, what is valuation? I thought I'd not bother with giving my own definition of it, but I'd introduce what it is per financial reporting standards or indeed per corporate finance standards. When we talk about valuation, we're talking about the price at which you're exchanging ownership or shares in a business between a willing buyer and a willing seller, both of whom are not under any duress, and they have full knowledge of the relevant facts as they apply to whatever they may be buying or valuing. What that means for a lot of the businesses and for you entrepreneurs is that when you're entering transactions with investors, it's incumbent on you to make sure you've provided them all the information such that you have a fair exchange when you're trying to assess the value of this business. So when we are valuing, we're just going through the process of determining what that value or consideration of that asset or that business that investors are buying is. And we'll look at the different methods you use to do that. Why do we do valuation? I thought I'd list them all here. Before we do valuation, it's always important to know why you're doing the valuation. So you'll find valuation done when you need to buy or sell securities. I've written some articles on whether I think the value of MTN is fair after they recently raised a big debt round. I thought about doing it for CIPLA as well, but then I said, because CIPLA recently announced an interim dividend. But then I said, until someone says they're going to pay me to do it, I won't do it. But yes, you do valuations when you're going to buy or sell securities. You do valuation when you have to plan capital budgeting. So for a lot of the entrepreneurs here today, we're talking about buying equipment. So usually you will do some kind of valuation to see if that investment makes sense. You'll do valuation for financial reporting. You'll do valuation for M&A activity. We're advising an entrepreneur recently who had to bring on investors but needed to change the current ownership. And so we had to do a valuation exercise before we could say what the new investors coming on board should get. You do it for tax. You do it for marking the value of your investment position. This is going to be done by, I see one of my OBs, Edward, Mr. Nangono in the room. But when they're in the banks and they're doing big investments and they need to know the value of those investments, bonds or equities or Forex, they'll do mark-to-market valuations. Then you do valuations. This is not my favorite, but wills and estates, divorce settlements. So I'm actually talking to a family right now that their father deceased. He left an estate. The children can't seem to agree how they want to apportion that estate. And so you need to do evaluation before you can decide what should be the plan. And then finally, which is not showing on the screen, but specialized situations, that is where we'd mention valuation of startups. And I did it at the end because valuation of startups is a bit specialist. And so you have to know what you're doing because it's a bit of a special situation when you're inviting investors into your business. If I'm buying into a listed company, its value and price is known every day because that listed company is trading. But for startups, it's a bit different. So that is the other reason why we do valuation. I'm going to just talk briefly about the context when you do valuation. So as entrepreneurs, as technology businesses, it's important to understand that when investors are coming at your business and looking to put capital into it, it's because they see certain opportunities, but there's also certain challenges. And all these factor into the way they're going to value your business. Especially here in Uganda, dare I say Africa, there are certain challenges you face when you start a business or as you operate a business here. So things like the infrastructure may be limited for the work you want to do. That's why we have a lot of, we'll have some businesses that we're pitching, helping move farmer produce from the farm to, say, a supermarket in Europe. because you know there is value in doing that. The value chain, the infrastructure is not good, is not that good. The regulatory environment can be aggressive and complex. URA has been quite aggressive of late, to name a few. We're trying to get a startup pack that may help you as businesses, but all those present some challenges. Of course, political stability, access to capital, and then the biggest challenge we have when you're building businesses, I'd say globally, but more so in our markets, is access to talent. So despite those challenges, though, there's lots of opportunity. And so when an investor is coming to put capital into your business, they're looking at this opportunity. Is it a growing market, opportunity to be innovative? Is there penetration, say, via mobile because we've adopted it as African countries? Are there certain partnerships they see? There are certain innovations, especially in agriculture. I'm impressed by all the pictures that have come before. So guys, you guys are really innovating. So, and that is what hopefully attracts the investors. So it's balancing those challenges with the opportunity and seeing how that turns into a valuation. So having given that context, I'm going to hand over to George now, who's going to just take us through, with that lens, what is the investor looking at when they're coming to value? What's their point of view?
Thank you, Kenneth. So just as Kenneth has mentioned, and for the pitches that have been presented today, as you have noticed, is that most of the presenters have mentioned the trends in their industries, the fact that they're also generating revenue. Those are key things that investors would be interested in, understanding your business model as well, the technology aspect, how competent is the team. You know, most of you are mentioning the fact that it's you have startups, but when you're looking at the combined experience of the entire management team, you notice that people have like about 20 or 30 years of experience. So such things are quite important to investors, because you may have a very beautiful business model, but if you don't have the people to run that organization, then it becomes quite a challenge. Then the financial aspect to it, are you profitable? At what stage are you? Have you just generated revenue, still loss making, but you have the potential to eventually become profitable as well? In terms of the customer traction as well, your competitive analysis, then your risk. Now, when it comes to so the investors will also be interested in the valuation of the business, which will look in detail. They would also want to verify the information that you've actually shared with them, and I think that's quite important. And I normally encourage entrepreneurs get involved in capital raising exercises as much as you can. I know it may have an impact on the operations of the business, but it's similar to when you're trying to sell a car and you take it to a mechanic, you get to know what the issues are and then you fix them, isn't it? So however much it may not be successful, I think for the time I've been working in this space, you find that the success rate of closing deals, maybe my colleague here can correct me, it's around, and maybe Bobo as well, it's around maybe 18 to 25% of the deals you're currently considering. Yeah, so it's quite important that you get involved in these exercises. Then I'll just briefly introduce the valuation methods that are normally used. So traditionally, there is the asset-based valuation, which involves looking at the assets of a business, the tangible assets of the business, and the previous masterclass that we conducted. That's where we eventually came to this as well, is that most of the entrepreneurs are saying they run tech business, don't have any tangible assets, then how are we going to value their businesses? Yeah, so that's what we're going to try and address today. Then we have the comparables approach valuation, where you'd again, this is also something that we found a little bit touchy for some investors. They kept on saying, well, there are no listed companies that are doing what exactly we're doing at the moment, because most of you are very innovative and probably starting up businesses that have never been started up anywhere else in the world. So there may not be any comparable companies either in Africa or globally in general. Then you'd also have to compare it with transactions that have happened in the past. And in Africa, for some reasons, people don't want to disclose their deals, right? Perhaps they believe the taxman would eventually be on their necks. So then we looked at the discounted cash flow method. Now with the discounted cash flow method, it's the holy grail of valuation. You can't run away from it, irrespective of the industry that you're in. At the end of the day, the investors in this room are interested in making money from their investment. So the only way they can do that is by you preparing projections of the operating cash flows that the business is going to generate. And then they'll try to establish what the present value is based on the required return or the cost of equity. There are other startup-friendly methods that Kenneth and I will further dive into. That's the venture capital method, the comparable company analysis to some extent, the precedent transaction method, which I mentioned, the Bacchus method, and the scorecard valuation method. So I'll just briefly highlight what would be appropriate depending on the stage of your. Now, normally when you're at the early stage, pre-revenue, considered to be high risk by most investors. But the thing is, the reason as to why you set up that business is to make money. So you would have to reach your investors on the cash flows, like I mentioned earlier, but you have to build those cash flows from scratch. So you need to give them the confidence that the business is going to be able to generate those cash flows in the future. And that's why you'll have to get involved into a scenario analysis where you'd look at the base case scenario in terms of generating cash, the base, which is probably the average, and then the worst case. Then you have option pricing where you're dealing with very uncertain ventures. So that's Series B capture, where you're approaching probably venture capital firms after you've asked your family members and for funding. So at that stage, you're looking at growth. You're probably generating revenue, and I think most of the pitches here were for companies that are revenue generating. So I think this is where you'd probably fall, yeah. And then you'd have to look at still the modified DCF, look at revenue multiples, because at that point you're generating revenue, so it will be a little bit invest in your business based on revenue multiple. In the last presentation, and people are getting confused. So, but when someone mentions I'm probably paying 2x or valuing your business at 2x your revenue, it's literally just saying it's valuing your business at 2 times the revenue you're generating. So don't make it any more complicated. Yeah. Then you have the VC method where you look at the exit valuation with the investor's required return, which is the internal rate of return, and make adjustments to that. So stage 3, where you have a mature stage, there's still predictable growth for that business. It's probably profitable, near profitability. That's when you're going to now be able to apply your traditional valuation techniques, and those are the ones that we mostly covered in the previous masterclass. My colleague Kenneth, case studies.
So I meant to ask when we started to all the entrepreneurs that had been pitching before. Put up your hand if you think you know the value of your business. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's about 4 out of 10 that have pitched so far. I didn't see you pitching, Mr. Easy Greek. You're last. Okay. And then for those who've raised their hands, or those who've not raised their hands, and you're here in the room, why do you want to do evaluation? If anyone's willing to just volunteer and answer, or you're just waiting for lunch. Anyone who can just tell us why they want to value their business? because I want to get context. Gentlemen in the back, feel free to shout it out. And any other, yes? Very briefly.
Consider equity. Currently not, but when the time comes, I would be very interested in valuing my business.
So before you value, it's always important to know why you want to value. But secondly, as well, it tells you how you go about the valuation. And if you take anything away from today, maybe it will be just this table. This is my knowledge, but also the words of people who are much more experienced than me, Professor Aswath Damodaran, who says that usually the holy grail of valuing is any asset is worth the cash it will give you in the future. That's what investors want. When you buy a government bond, it's because they're going to pay you coupons. When you buy a share that's listed, it's because they'll pay you a dividend and you'll sell it and make some money. So, but the problem with startups, or especially technology ones, is that they are not generating revenue from day one. And there's a lot of uncertainty. With that frame of mind, the view is that it's important first to understand the stage you're at and know the characteristics. Are you generating revenue or not? How far away are you from cash flow? Then you can know what valuation method to use. And the reason why I just put this up again is because what we're going to go through now are practical examples with numbers of some of these methods you see on here. We shall not be doing the discounted cash flow because it just takes too long to set up. We do not have the time to do that. But we'll look a bit at the comparable companies analysis, and we'll look a bit at the VC method. So I hope you all have your pens and your papers and your calculators, and you're ready to do some numbers. If you're not, well, I'll give it away. We did the numbers here, so you'll just see the answers. But I hope at least you're noting what metrics you need to know about your business to be able to do the valuation. So I'll get into it. There's a process to how you value a business. Sadly, I don't know what's happening with the tech, but it's not showing the whole slide. I don't know if we need to zoom out a bit because there's parts of it that are cut out. However, if you're going to do your valuation, it's important, one, to understand the context. So what type of company are you? Which sector, which geography, which companies are similar to you? Which stage are you? What is your business model, and so on and so forth. Based on that, you can then know what valuation method you're going to use. You can then go ahead to collect the data you need to do the valuation, and then go ahead and do the analysis and the calculations, the valuation. Fortunately, we're beginning to get, I guess, technology tools that help you do this. There are people who are doing their own startup valuation toolkits. I know one of the investors that do that whenever they come to invest in the country here. But even when they do that, you should know so that you're able to maybe counter or express an opinion on that valuation. You then review the results after you've done an analysis. And what we do for startups is you have to make adjustments. Because a startup usually, the reality is it does, if you're starting here today, if I came back in 3 years, either you've done that or so either you've grown, or maybe you're dead, or maybe you're flatlined, but then you'll start questioning your life choices, and you'll be under pressure from the wife or your parents or your peers, and so on and so forth. But you have to factor that then into account. So when you do evaluation, sometimes you then adjust it. If I value your business and I value it at 50 million US dollars, I might say, what's the probability that he'll hit that valuation? If I think it's 10%, then I'd adjust that 50 million by 10%, and which means I'd bring down your valuation to say 5 million. So I think is it better now? It's fine. We'll just continue with it as it is. It's okay. Okay. Oof. Yes. I was debating whether to show these things, but okay. So I mentioned context. As I mentioned, it's important to know the type of business that you are. So for tech and ag tech companies, technology companies generally are innovation driven. They are scaling. Scaling just means they are growing. They can grow revenue and users very, very quickly. The model is that you've heard the term used today, asset light. So which means they don't have large capex. So if you look at an example, and here I try to give examples that are in our market. If you look at an example like Numida, or even if you looked at an example like some of them are beginning to change now, but if you look at an example like maybe even Tugende, they'll just be using technology to deploy capital, either to border right or to other kinds of borrowers. And as a result, the valuation is going to be based on metrics, which you need to understand. So you'll hear things like annual recurring revenue, daily active users, monthly active users, customer acquisition costs. So these are the metrics, lifetime value of a customer. These are the metrics then that drive value. So it's important that you know those metrics and can measure them for your business. Just moving on then to ag tech companies, which are in the room today. What I noticed is, compared to tech companies, and I saw it, for example, with AgroSahas, I saw it as well with AgroShare. What happens is that, yes, they're innovation driven, they're blending technology with agriculture, but what's happening is they're then looking at capital to get into the business, because some of the asks were to buy perhaps equipment or to build up processing equipment, processing plants, or to build up storage. Yes, so they are mixing technology and they're getting some capital in, and then they have dependencies, whether it's on the supply chain, whether it's on climate policy, whether it's on an agent network. They're really dependent on those factors, and therefore their valuation may be driven by the factors I mentioned earlier, generally for technology companies, but also by things like, maybe is it the yield, the number of farmers you're reaching, the number of agents in your network. So it's important that you understand this context when you're going to be looking at valuing of your business. So then how do we apply the valuation? So we're going to go through some of the methods. I apologize if your degree is not so quantitative, but I just try to, I've tried to make it so that maybe we can follow as we're doing this. So with the venture capital method, and as the name suggests, venture capital, it's looking from the point of view of the venture capital investor. And what do they want? If they put an amount of money in today, say $5 million, they may be looking for, say, 10 times their money. Yes? 10 times their money, say, in 3 years. So the venture capital method, what it just does, it looks at the value they want to get in the future, the investor wants to get in the future, and says, what is that value worth today? And what that value is worth today becomes the valuation of the business. So a simple example, you are AgroShare, and you showed us a business, a market opportunity of 16.8 billion. So that wasn't that the size of the market? Yeah, 16.8 billion. And let's assume that in 5 years, you're able to capture, what, 10% of market share? 20%. I think you're very ambitious, but anyway, you have to be. I'll bring it down and say maybe you'll get 1% of market share. So with 1% of market share, that's about 168 million. Market share means the revenue the business is making. So if he's able to capture 168 million in market share, the revenue, and you may say the business is worth the revenue it's making, say, times 2. If it's making 168 million, what is the business worth if it's revenue times 2? Anyone? Sorry? Yes, and you didn't even use ChatGPT. So very good. So 336. So that's the value of the business in 10 years. So if I'm investing today and I'd like a return of, say, 50% per year to invest in that opportunity, I would look at what should that be worth today. So there's a formula I'd use. So we are showing it there. There's a formula there. I don't know how you point on here, but you can see there, post is equal to exit value divided by 1 plus the investor required return raised to the number of years. So in our example, we'd say it's going to be, and those with calculators do it very quickly for me, but would be 336 divide by 1 plus, I need to get 50% on my money, and then all raised to the power 10. So 336 divided by 1.5 to the 10th power. I don't know what 1.5 to the 10th power is. I can't do that mental maths. I don't know if anyone has done it, but whatever that gives you will be the value of the business today. Who has a calculator? Who has done it? Sorry? You've asked ChatGPT. What has it told you? It's not told you. But I'm going to show perhaps an example where we've done it. Yes. Oh, yes. Like I said, I'm not seeing them. But the point is that it will be whatever that calculation is going to give you today. So let me see if I can do it on my phone as I speak. So the reason why you do that is because you want to see what the value of the business is today, and you want to be able to know what you should pay. So that's in a nutshell is the venture capital method. But to understand the venture capital method, then there are certain terms that get thrown around. Who of us knows what post-money valuation is? Entrepreneurs in the room? Okay, you know. What is post-money valuation? Yes, so post-money valuation is the value of the business after the investment has come into the business. And then there's another term called pre-money valuation. As the name suggests, that's before an investor invests in the business. So when you're negotiating with investors, it's important to know whether the valuation that's stated is pre or post. Yes, and the investment is the amount of money you invest, and the ownership is usually calculated as the investment divided by post-money valuation. So in the example I gave earlier, I don't know if anyone has done 336 million divided by 1.5 raised to the power of 10. 5.8 million. Okay, thank you very much. So it means I'd be valuing AgriShare at 500,000, and because he was asking for 5,000, and I've done a valuation of 5.8 million, maybe I'll round up the valuation to 6 million for ease of maths. Oh, that makes it harder actually. So the valuation I'd want is 500,000 divided by 6 million. So that's 5/6. I don't know what that is. A haircut. I do a haircut. Yes. So maybe I'll say, give me 10% of your business. So that's what I'd ask for my 500,000. So that is a demonstration of the VC method in action. So when you're talking to investors and startups, that is the calculation they're doing. And you're fine with that. You're fine with that. Now, we'll stick with the example of AgriShare when we go to the next method of valuation. So that was the VC method. I do not suggest that I do this case study. You're going to be given this material. You can go read it. It is a more detailed case study that explains that same concept. I'll move on to the next valuation method. You can see you even draw charts and pictures when you're doing this valuation. And I think I'm just making it look intentionally complicated so that when you need to do it, you give me a call. Huh? And I charge you a small fee, of course. That's the idea. The second method of valuation we're going to look at is what is called the comparables method, generally. And the way this works is very simple. I go to the market. I go to maybe Nakasero market. I say, how much are you selling a bunch of matoke at? You tell me maybe 20,000. I go to Kalerwe, 25,000. And then I get a sample. Based on that, I'll know what the average cost of a bunch of matoke is. And then I may decide to count the number of fingers of banana on matoke. So when you bring me a bunch of matoke and I to give a value to that bunch of matoke. Very basic demonstration, but at the heart of it, that's the way comparables work. So with comparables, especially when you're using, say, market multiples, you look at your business, you look at the key drivers, whether you're earning revenue, whether you have certain operating profit you've gotten, whether you've processed a certain number of transactions, all that is used to determine the value of your business, by looking at similar comparable businesses or comparable transactions. So that's it in a nutshell. And over here, we are showing what some of those multiples are. Maybe price to earnings, maybe enterprise value to sales, maybe enterprise value to earnings. And just to define enterprise value is the value of the debt in a business, the value of the equity in the business minus the cash in a business. So just so you know, because startups tend not to have much debt in the business, although these days they're taking convertible debt, most times when you get the enterprise value, once you subtract the debt and add the cash, you quickly get to the value of shares or equity in the business. So we'll look at an example of the comparables approach. You may use it either using comparable companies or comparable transactions. And there's a nice helpful summary table here for you to look at. Yes, so what we're showing here is looking at the African tech landscape, looking at some of the businesses that have raised funding rounds and looking at what the implied valuation or multiples were when they raised funding rounds. So in the table here, you can see for SaaS companies, people are paying between 8 and 15 times the revenue that the business is making. That ratio there can change. So it means if you come to me with a SaaS company that is like Paystack or Andela, I'd say, okay, I know they said 8 to 15 times, but right now I know you're not going to get money anywhere. I know you've not proven your concept. I know you can't build the team that is like Paystack. I know you're not in Nigeria. I know you don't have a BOU license, so I'm going to give you 3 times the revenue. Yeah, so that's what investors are thinking. Or you come to me and you're a fintech like Cheaper Cash, and you see they are paying 12 on the type of business that you are. And the same goes on, which is most of you in the room. The multiples are 3 to 6 times the revenue. But I think, I don't know, individual circumstances, there's been a bit of a funding winter out there, and maybe these ratios might not be current now. Yes. For marketplaces, 6 to 12 times. So that is how you use comparables to value a business. And we had some case studies here. It has been cut off, but what we're showing there is Flutterwave. So in 2022, Flutterwave raised, I don't know what series it was. They were valued at 3 billion at the time. At the time, they had processed 16 billion transactions, and they had on board 1 million businesses as customers. So based on that, how much were they paying per business? Anyone able to tell me? What was the price paid by the investors per business onboarded on the Flutterwave platform? They paid 3 billion, and there is 1 million businesses. So per business, they're paying 3,000. Yes, you can all see that. So if you come to me on your Flutterwave, I'd say, okay, what are you? Yeah, I don't put Mr. Luyinda on the spot, but I might ask him how many businesses he has on his Easy Agri platform, and we'll do a very quick valuation here. How many? 750. So at 750 times 3,000, someone do the maths for me. What is that? What's that valuation? Yeah? 2.25. Yeah, $2.25 million. I'm sure he would disagree with that valuation. It depends. Yes. So that's how you use comparables to do valuation. There is more examples here. Hello Tractor, which is a bit like AgriShare. Maybe this when we ask AgriShare, what revenue are you making currently? You shall not choose this format. We'll use the other. So Mr. AgriShare has refused to tell us his revenue, but we could have done his valuation here and now, so the investors can know if the VC method was overvaluing him compared to the comparables method. And I wanted to make a point by doing that actually. But indulge me. What was the revenue last year? You showed it to everyone here. What was it? What was it? Yeah. But if we assumed it was, say, $100,000 last year. So on a multiple 5 times revenue, that would be $500,000. Does anyone remember what the valuation was when we did it with the VC method? It was 5 million. Yes. So what this is demonstrating, this comparables method compared to the VC method tends to give a lower valuation generally than the VC method most times. I don't know if it's more couched in reality than the VC method, because VCs can be optimistic in what they think the business is going to achieve, and then they get in and it all goes to potty, as the people say. So yes, that is the comparables. This is not legible here, but when you look at the slides, it will be legible. It was just a practical example of applying the comparables method. So you can take it and use it for your business. I.e., you find companies, you find what their comparable metrics are, and you'll set this up as a spreadsheet, and you'll be able to do it for your business if you need to.
Sorry, can I just to interrupt you? And the comparable methods technique is one that is investors like to use a lot, and I think Edward there can attest to that, because you know, as entrepreneurs, you're going to come up with projections, and they may be overstated. Yeah, they may be too ambitious. So to double check and see whether your valuation is actually reasonable, then they would probably use the multiples valuation. So don't think you'll ignore it forever. Yeah, you'll have to use it as well. Thank you.
So I think those were the two methods we wanted to discuss and share today. And just to stress a point we made earlier with the lens of the investor on, but it's important for you to know this so that as startups, you remove these risks that investors may put before you. So when investors are making valuations for emerging markets, as they like to call our markets, frontier markets, they look at things like revenues uncertain, the country is risky, politics, FX volatility, so on and so forth. Then they adjust what return they expect. So when I used the 50% as a required return in the VC method earlier, it was not far-fetched. Yes, it was not far-fetched. So it's because of these adjustments. What is the cost of capital? What is the markup that some businesses fail? So just be aware that there'll be adjustments to your valuation because of these risk issues. So you have to remove the risk issues. If they say uncertain revenue, show them contracts you've signed going forward 10 years for customers that want to give you money. Or show them that your churn rate is like 1% if you can achieve that. Or show them that your NPAs on your Everland are maybe 2%, much lower than maybe banks. So that is the way you give them comfort around the risk. Things like political FX volatility, you can do all it's only so much you can do in as far as the political environment you're in, but maybe diversifying by showing you're across countries, not just Uganda. There's the other, and these are some of the uncertainties, and I thought I'd give an example. For example, in the US, for US startups, the kind of discount they're talking about when they're adjusting valuations is usually 15-20%, but in places like Africa, we generalize, but the rate may be 20 to 35% or higher. I think that's what I wanted to share. Of course, when investors invest, they expect an exit, and that is what they're looking at when they're investing. So they'll be scanning, how are we going to get out of this business, and will then affect as well what exit multiple they're able to get. I think we had a practical exercise. I don't know if you have the heart to do it, but I think as we've gone through today, we've done a practical exercise. I'll just hand over now to George can give some concluding remarks. They're up there.
Thank you, Ken, for taking us through these methods. And I think from our last masterclass and what you've brought on board has actually helped so many of the businesses. Like the gentleman is the one who has been pushing for this easy agri. Yeah, so I think you found this presentation quite helpful. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so I think that's all I'd like to say, and it's been a pleasure engaging you over these two masterclasses. Thank you.
And yes, the material will be available. You can read it at your leisure.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask our CFA holders, please, to stay behind. Do we have any questions? I know there must be quite a number, so there's one here.
Thank you very much, Ken and George, for the presentation. My name is Johnson. I work with Finding XY. I guess my question is still on the valuation methods, especially the comparable companies analysis. I guess one of the challenges entrepreneurs face is that they can't find a comparable companies universe. You find that you're operating in a segment, maybe you're the only entrepreneur there. So my question is, what happens when you can't find comparable companies or when the data is not freely available? For example, data on EBITDA or sales, how do you handle that?
Kenneth, I see you're taking note on that.
My name's Edward Isingoma Masco. Thank you, George. Thank you, Ken. This is helpful. I think from experience, we've looked at some ag techs as PCP and yield fund. And usually, every time we've looked at them, and I think we looked at Easy Agric. Yes. It is valuation. And that's where you fall apart. But I would be very keen to say, I think George touched on this, fair value is where there's a willing buyer and seller, irrespective of what numbers you manipulate, and irrespective of how you are dressed, irrespective of how you talk, irrespective of how you show all the various case studies. And even when I was listening to the pitches earlier, I kept thinking to myself, why can't someone say, okay, come and join us, come and invest in us. This is what we are offering you. But you as an investor, I'm giving you 5 times in 5 years. Then it will make sense for me. But the end of the pitches were mostly, come and invest in us. This is what we have to offer you. But not what you're going to make, or what is that multiple, what is that valuation. I think for me, that becomes the critical thing. And then the second point I would be very keen to just supplement is that even as you discuss with an investor like some of us, and you're talking about valuation, think about if I flipped the coin. You're telling me to buy 10% for $100,000. If I flip it and tell you, put the $100,000 for 10%, will you? And then, me as an investor, as I'm looking at you, I'm also looking straight in your eyes, and I don't even expect the answer. I need to see your body language. And if you can't, why do you expect me to do it? I'm not a fool. So I think that instinct on how we value sometimes comes at play. And then 3, comparators are never going to be available. Even if they're available, many of them will not be very similar to what your situation is. They could be a different environment, they could be a different scenario. But I think what we are seeing, and even when they're there, nobody's going to tell you the real thing of it. As Ken said, the taxman will come run after you.
Yeah.
Many other things will happen the moment you start revealing those details. So in the end, where are those details going to be got? Some of them are got in the bars, in the clubs, when you're having drinks, when you have to intoxicate somebody to say something. Things happen there. And this is why sometimes it's called private equity and venture capital. The things we do need to be as practical as possible for them to make sense. And I don't think entrepreneurs will get it by PowerPoint slides. I still don't believe that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Edward. Any other questions, or should we first take those 2?
Yeah, I can go first.
Yeah, thank you, John, for your question. And
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ziana. I'm the CEO of Fitspa. Mine is, how do you vet also a serious investor? Because we've seen many cases where investors come and promise our entrepreneurs the world, and then they disappear, they go quiet on email after the entrepreneur has exposed themselves, shared everything with them, and then they go quiet. That's 1. 2, we've seen those that come for 2 years, they invest and then disappear, and they close shop. And after, so the entrepreneurs have invested money, have even spent, they promise the entrepreneurs money for like 5 years, They give them money for 1 year and then they disappear. So how do we solve those problems and how do we vet them? Thank you.
Sorry. Yeah. Thank you, Ziana, for your question. I think I'll start with yours. From the experience of being an investment advisor in this market, it tends to happen a lot. You find investors who, I think they just want to justify their per diem expenditure here in the Ugandan market. So they'll look at the opportunity, have their investment committee seats, they would get interested, and then they would want to fly in and come and spend some time and enjoy the Ugandan weather, perhaps. So it happens. Now, how to judge whether it's a serious investor? Well, what we tend to do is just look at what are the deals they have actually done in this market. So you also do some bit of due diligence on them, and have they recently raised money? Yeah. When was the last time they raised? When I say money, is that from closing funds? Yeah. So have they closed the fund maybe in the last 2 years? If they were able to raise 100 million, do you think within the last 2 years they probably deployed that money? Look at the investments they are perhaps announced on their websites. Yeah. So that will give you an insight into, and if possible, you could find that they are probably companies that they have invested in this market, and you may be knowing the entrepreneurs who are dealing directly with them, and and get in touch with them, ask them how is in what's your experience with this particular investor, how have they been treating you. And also, you need to take note of the type of investors. There are those who just want to give you money and then just sit. They won't be interested in getting involved in the day-to-day running of the company. So you'd have to take note of that, while others may be sort of like strategic investors. They want to come in, perhaps look at invest in your business, have seats on the board, and if your business is probably even doing well, they want to take it over in the next couple of years. And some entrepreneurs have been affected by that, but you wouldn't blame them because you didn't do due diligence to find out what sort of investor is actually coming on board. So that's how you mitigate the risk. But you can't, I don't think you can alleviate it completely. You just have to do due diligences on the investors themselves as well. I don't know whether that helps. Yeah, sure. Then the first question, can I address the first question? Yeah, sure. Then for the first question, again, from experience, and just as Mr. Edward has mentioned, Mr. Nsingoma, or Dr. Nsingoma to be correct, has mentioned, is that getting this comparable information is going to be difficult, but there's certain platforms that can help. There's Bloomberg, there's routers, Thomson routers. They're quite expensive, but at least they'll give you an indication. And if you're trying to look, for instance, for comparables within the Ugandan market and you don't find any, you try to expand your search area. So you look at maybe in East Africa, there are some deals that have been done in Rwanda, Kenya, Tanzania, and then probably relate them to your market. If not, look at Sub-Saharan Africa. So you just keep on expanding your search until you get something that you can work with. Then, of course, like you said, you start looking at the adjustments of the uncertainties involved. Yeah, the political risk, the FX risk, revenue uncertainty, and then you come at, like you said, like it's normally said, is that valuation is not a science, right? It's a science and an art as well. So you just have to come to something that's agreeable with the investor. And Edward had mentioned is that always also try to look at it from their perspective. Now, for you, you're running the company. You've come up with your very ambitious projections. Even you yourself, you're not convinced that you can hit those numbers. So you have to be as candid as possible and be honest with yourself when you're making these. It shortens the time that you're going to take to close the deal. It could even happen within a month or two, but if you want to be again dishonest, then you find yourself stretching it over a long period. Like he said, they are very smart people, the people who work in these private equity firms. So don't think you can take them for a ride on their money. Yeah.
So before we take the question, I'll just deal with this issue around comparables. George has mentioned Bloomberg Reuters, but and I'll give a personal journey. In 2017, I set out to build the Bloomberg of Africa. It was called Digest Africa. I'm trying to stop it from dying a natural death, but it exists. I'm pivoting it into an AI and data business, but that's a story for another day. But the reason why I raised that is because at the time in 2017, there was there was data being released on the African startup space. So the deals you've seen here on Flutterwave, on Hello Tractor, on Twigger Foods, all those are transactions that exist. And I remember what we're doing at the time was crawling certain sources, Tech Cabal, Disrupt Africa, I forget some of the other media outlets, but they had information on African deals. So you can go there and you'll find information on the deals. How much a company has raised, maybe the valuation they've raised at, the metrics the company has when they're raising. So it will guide you on your comparables. So that's the way to do it. We also have other sources like The Big Deal. It is famous. And there's Africa Digest. So all these are sources where you can get comparables. And I know for a fact that platforms like Crunchbase, probably even Bloomberg and Reuters, at least I know for Crunchbase, as Digest Africa, PitchBook, as Digest Africa, we were actually giving them the data they used to show to the world on African startups. So since then, 7 years back, it has improved. So you can find this data on comparables. But what we found as well, there's the data that's in the public domain, but there's the data that entrepreneurs will tell you in confidence, and you can have it in your database to inform ratios and multiples, but you don't disclose it to the public. So I'd say you seek maybe a subscription with some of these sources, and you'll be able to get some good comparable data. That's maybe that's what I'll say on that issue around comparables. And when Edward said flip it, would you be willing to put 10%, 100K into your business for 10%? He's just trying to get you to be empathetic to an investor. And George also mentioned it. He said, sometimes you're telling lies about this this valuation. And these things are very simple. The example we just did with AgriShare, you can see that even at 1% of market share in 10 years' time, and you get what it is, the value today, the pricing you'd be choosing for maybe 500K for 10% of his business, okay, you start to see if it might be realistic. And then you ask yourself, what will it take for me to make 1%, to make $168 million in revenue from AgriShare in 10 years? So you start to have a frank conversation. Will you be in one country? Maybe unlikely, because what's the GDP for agriculture in Uganda? Means you have been in more than one country. Will you be the only player? Highly unlikely. Today there's already 10 people pitching, 20 people pitching actually. Do you think you have the team? I ask you, well, show me someone who has built a $200 million business in your team. How do you plan to get them in? If you've already given away too much equity, which is what they want, maybe you need to think about the way you're building. So, and I'm telling you what I'd be thinking as an investor coming to give you that money. And I've been on the other end when I'm being asked those tough questions by investors. So you can have hard, honest conversations with yourselves. And the more you get this engagement, the more you get value for both yourself and the investor.
Yeah. Any?
Thanks, Ken. Thanks, George. I just want to make a few comments, and thanks for raising this kind of very educative piece around technology businesses. But I just want to make two comments. I think around flipping the coin, all of us know that
from the investor perspective, you're looking for someone who knows something, literally, and someone who cares about it so much. Those are the only two factors which you're looking out for. And I believe that the entrepreneur may not be able to say that I'll put in 100,000. Maybe he doesn't have it. But experienced investors also know it, that they will follow you and see whether you care about this thing more than any other person. And probably that will tell them your desire for you to put in the 100,000. Even if when I'm unable to answer the 100,000 question just immediately. I'm just putting it out there, according at least to my experience, especially for early stage businesses. Then the second one is about the realistic targets. We all know what makes entrepreneurs is to dream. We all know that actually the ambitious, the energy in us, that's what makes us actually entrepreneurs. Because when I say that I'm going to land on the moon, even I may not leave the earth. But when I say that I'm going to land in the stars, I'll land on the moon. There's a high probability that I'll land on the moon. So the question is for the investment community, when you see this fire within this person and you really connected with this particular person, what's wrong with sitting down the entrepreneur and be like, hey, man, let's talk about this. Maybe considering the valuation which you'll consider for yourself, you are going to discount XYZ because of your targets. We believe that you can reach there. We believe that you may not reach the stars, but you're going to reach the moon. You're going to reach the moon, I mean. And experienced investors have done this. But also we have experienced worst investors that maybe these guys are zombies. Like we call them zombie investors, like what you raised. They come, they say that they're going to deploy capital, and yet they have not yet even concluded the capital, and they end up wasting entrepreneurs' time. And you realize that actually you're talking to someone, but these guys don't have capital. So they're talking to you, but looking out for anything which will not go right. Then they'll be like, for that particular reason, oh, sorry, we are not going to be able to proceed with the deal. That's fine. But when you have connected with an entrepreneur, actually realize that investors are willing to go way a mile ahead, even to help you to rectify your targets, to make sure that you have a realistic deal. My point is, we need valuation, but let us not forget the soft and the most important aspect of connecting, the connection which has to exist between the entrepreneur and the investor. Because when that connection exists, then all this kind of the rest of conversations will become much, much, much easier. Thank you.
Yes, thank you once again for the presentation. My name is Malik from Kiss of Fresh. On the issue of fair valuation, right? If I were cash strapped and somebody offered me 10K for 10% in the time and I took it, would that mean that my company is valued at 100,000, even if I was making, say, 50,000? Secondly, how do we value sweat equity? Because I cannot spend 5 years of my life building a business only for you to come around and tell me it's probably 20,000, it's worth 20,000. You understand? Because I mean, I put in sweat, blood, tears, sleepless nights, and all those things that come with it. Thank you.
All right, we'll take one more question and then wrap it up.
Yes, thank you. My name is Caroline. I work for Inua Capital. We're an SME Impact Investment Fund. So on the question that was asked concerning investors who come, they put in money and then they seem to disappear. I want to add on to what he answered. So I believe the different types of investors, the investors that are hands-on and they're the ones that are hands-off. So I think when you're looking for an investor, you ought to look into their mandate and what type of portfolio management they do. So in our case, we are really hands-on. So what you'd expect from us is that after disbursement, we're going to do something like a 90-day plan, where for 3 months or 4 months, we are in your business week after week. We're there 3 times trying to get the 90-day plan accomplished, which is, this is basically just a de-risking plan we've come up with for the first 90-day for the first 90 days of investment. Then after that, we're supposed to slowly transition into something we call steady state management. You have to remember these funds are comprised of very small teams, and it's not only portfolio management they're supposed to do. They're supposed to do other things like attending these events, sourcing other deals, and many other things they're doing. So ideally, just look at the type of investor you want. Do you want hands-on? Do you want hands off? You also have to consider yourself as an entrepreneur. What type of entrepreneur are you? Honestly, there's some entrepreneurs who don't want people in their business. They don't want someone telling them what to do or giving suggestions. So you really also have to check yourself. What type of entrepreneur am I? Do I appreciate someone having like their nose and hands in my business on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis? Or are you the type actually who wants someone to just give you money? Let's set targets, let's do board meetings. If I need help, I'll call you, but stay out of my way. You also have to consider the type of entrepreneur you are. Otherwise, you will find you have a misalignment. You get an investor who's hands-on, and you don't want someone in your face, and you end up clashing. So I think you need to check yourself concerning that.
I think we are wrapping it up. Yes, yes. So I'll share some feedback on the comments you made. The first one was if someone gives you 10K for 10% of your business, does it mean you're valued at 100K? That is what it would imply. If someone gave you 10K for 10%, it would mean at that time they're valuing your business at 100K. But I noticed the dilemma, because it might be that at that time maybe you have personal circumstances or other business circumstances that are causing you to be distressed and in a crunch. And the thing about these valuations, if you take 10K at 10%, which shows the value of your business 100K, that usually goes down on what is called a cap table, which you keep as a business. It then means that when I come to invest next round, most investors will ask to see that cap table, because they want to see the money you raised, at what valuations were you doing it. And if they see that you did that at 100K, and maybe the previous one was at 2 million, they'll say, what's happening? What happened so much that you had to lose value? You could be open and tell them, look, that was then, I was under distress, it happened, but really when you look at the merits of the business now, I am not worth 100K. Or how I've seen other people go around it, and this is a bit of fudging the accounting. They say, okay, we're not investing 10K. We're investing, say, 100K. But I've exaggerated it. But 10K is in cash. The 90K, we're treating it as maybe some kind of in-kind consideration. I'm sitting on your board. I'm giving you advice. My time is very expensive. I'm opening doors for other clients. And you quantify that value as, say 90K. And then what you're showing on the cap table does not look like you've done an aggressive down round. So that's a practical way and how you tend to deal with these things. Turning to the question of sweat equity, you could have spent 10 years of your life, and instead of creating value, you are actually destroying value. I mean, I'm just telling you the truth. You don't take it personal. It happens, even in your personal lives. You may make the wrong career choices, and for 10 years, it's like you go into the abyss, and you think you're spending 10 years building a business, but I don't see. So what I always tell entrepreneurs, just learn very quickly what is creating value in your business and do that, and the investors will see it. Don't mark time. Don't mark time. And what I liked about some of the pictures today was that as people are asking for money, they are very clear on what milestones they're going to achieve. Like, I'm going to 10x my revenue. I'm going to 10x my customers. So focus more on creating value, the money you get. Because, and I'm speaking from maybe painful lessons, the whole idea of a startup is that you're able to create value so quickly in the beginning. So like where you are in 3-4 years as a startup, like it's really a massive J curve like that. If that is not happening in your business and you look at your numbers and they're not showing that, then either you're doing the wrong things and you're not creating value, or maybe you're in the wrong environment and you need to change it, or maybe you're building the wrong business and you're too early. And then you take a long, hard look at yourself and make some decisions. Yeah? Thank you.
Kenneth and George, thank you so much. On behalf of the Deal Flow Facility, we really appreciate giving us this practical and knowledgeable session. I think one of the things you didn't mention when they are saying that there are not enough comparables is that they should come to people like you to get that information. So in terms of next steps, we're going to share the PPT to the entrepreneurs that are in the room, but we'll also share George and Kenneth's contacts. So please feel free to reach out to them or reach out to any of us at the Deal Flow Facility, and we'll be able to support you in any way possible beyond even this masterclass and one-on-one conversations. Thank you once again, and also thank you for making it in time for lunch.
Yay.
We really appreciate that. All right. And that is it from the Deal Flow Facility on the Masterclass Evaluation. Thank you.
Enjoy your lunch.
Thank you so much, Deal Flow Facility, for that wonderful presentation of the masterclass on valuation. I think it sets the pace for the conversations you're going to have between 3:30 and 5 p.m. So based off of what Mr. Kenneth has taught you, please start doing the math so that you go into those conversations more confident, and it will increase your chances of indeed getting some investment. So thank you for that. I would like to invite Mr. Cyrus Chigundu to just take us through a picture session, but after that we will be having lunch. Please pass through the exhibition room on your way to the lunch, such that you can also have a look at that. And then at 2:30, we are all expected to be back in this room. We have another round of 10 entrepreneurs that will be pitching. So more excitement there, and more deals to be made, hopefully. And so Cyrus, just quickly, Cyrus was in charge of coordinating with the Deal Flow Facility. So let him have a word. Thank you.
Thank you so much. What an informative masterclass. Thank you so much, our facilitators and the entire organizing team. It has been a marathon, but at this juncture, allow me invite our facilitators back at the podium, and then we're going to have a photo of them and the team. Christina, you're also welcome. Yeah. Allow me also invite Brenda. We've been in touch to see this masterclass come to fruition. Brenda from the Deal Flow Facility. Is she around? From Einstein Rising. Yes. I think here we can remove the Yes, Christina.
All right, thank you for that. I think next you can go have your lunch, but please take care to leave. For those who booked appointments manually through the card, please leave them on your chair.
our SCTV platform, where we are trying to give exposure to the entrepreneurs who are really having impactful businesses. Secondly, we've gone to the grassroots, worked with farmers, worked with vulnerable women by impacting skills in them, introducing them to technologies that can help them do their work much easier and hopefully feed into the pipe. We believe that when it comes to the social enterprise space, we have played a key role in developing that space in Uganda, and we will continue to do so for many years to come.
We're solving a big problem with electronic waste because if we don't use batteries, they're going to end up in the landfill. RevMake is an energy tech company in Kampala. Our initial emphasis is on electronic waste, so we do collect lithium-ion battery packs and then we repurpose those for energy storage devices. Most of our sourcing is from IT repair centers. So when people go to replace their old batteries, usually they leave their old batteries behind. We are selling rechargeable LED power banks. Then we also do energy storage products from new batteries as well, portable power stations and power banks. The YSU program has been very impactful to RevMake. We started off as a bunch of geeks, very interested in playing with electronics and thought they had a very cool product. But innovation can only exist in an environment of entrepreneurship. And YSU has helped us bridge that gap. It's helped us get investor ready. We have a business plan. We have a good understanding of our finances, the market we're targeting, projections, to be able to match the work we want to do. Me being part of RevMake and seeing it grow, it's a very humbling feeling.
Einstein Rising is a social enterprise ecosystem builder that has been operating in Uganda since 2016, working with over 200 entrepreneurs. We see our role as an ecosystem builder to mold entrepreneurs, but also to bring all the different parties that can contribute to this entrepreneur building a sustainable business together. Not only that, we have contributed directly into trying to address some of the challenges that are faced here in Uganda. One of them being through our SCTV platform, where we are trying to give exposure to the entrepreneurs who are really having impactful businesses. Secondly, we've gone to the grassroots, worked with farmers, worked with vulnerable women by imparting skills in them, introducing them to technologies that can help them do their work much easier, and hopefully feed into the pipeline of entrepreneurs that we are then supporting in our consequent programs. Together with our partners, On the Name is for On the Name for OVO, we thought of an event where we could showcase the good work of the entrepreneurs who both our organizations have supported over the years. Following the COVID period, we thought that Kampala Impact Day was really something that was necessary in order to provide a platform where they can be exposed to potential customers, potential investors, potential partners. The main selling point of Kampala Impact Day is that we have tried to keep it as interactive and intimate as possible by limiting the number of people that get into the room, carefully selecting who we let into the room, making sure that everyone who actually gets into the event has value to add to the event. So we try to be unique by listening to what the entrepreneurs need and then catering to that by tailoring the event to actually address those needs. We believe that when it comes to the social enterprise space, we have played a key role in developing that space in Uganda, and we will continue to do so for many years to come.
Running a company producing products from scratch is something that needs patience. My name is Simon Sharp Katabazi, founder and director of Simon Sharp Products Limited, company that is located in Chilinya, Bukasa, and we manufacture 100% chemical-free skin and hair care products. I got to know about Instant Rising on Twitter. It was around 2019 on Brian Mangani's Twitter handle, talking about a program that was going to happen. I got interested, I read through and applied. I received some funding through Instant Rising, 30,000 US dollars, and we've used it to develop our production facility, as you can see. Besides funding, we've actually gotten to learn a lot of things from Instant Rising, more especially business management, marketing strategies, system management. So it has helped us a lot. In a few years I've worked with Instant Rising, I've known that if you want to do something, you have to endure, you have to experience, you have to give in all your energy. When I was starting Simon Sharp products, the goal was actually to make a sale per second. It feels good to see that you're moving from one step to another. Right now we can
Einstein Rising. Entrepreneurs, we see our role as an ecosystem builder to mold the entrepreneurs, but also to bring all the different parties that can contribute to this entrepreneur building a sustainable business together. Not only that, we have contributed directly into trying to address some of the challenges that are faced here in Uganda. One of them being through our ACTV platform, where we are trying to give exposure to the entrepreneurs who are really having impactful businesses. Secondly, we've gone to the grassroots, worked with farmers, worked with vulnerable women by impacting skills in them, introducing them to technologies that can help them do their work much easier and hopefully feed into the pipeline of entrepreneurs that we are then supporting in our consequent programs. Together with our partners, Ondernemers for Ondernemers, or OVO, we thought of an event where we could showcase the good work of the entrepreneurs who both our organizations have supported over the years. Following the COVID period, we thought that Kampala Impact Day was really something that was necessary in order to provide a platform where they can be exposed to potential customers, potential investors, potential partners. The main selling point of Kampala Impact Day is that we have tried to keep it as interactive and intimate as possible by limiting the number of people that get into the room, carefully selecting who we let into the room, making sure that everyone who actually gets into the event has value to add to the event. So we try to be unique by listening to what the entrepreneurs need and then catering to that by tailoring the event to actually address those needs. We believe that when it comes to the social enterprise space, we have played a key role in developing that space in Uganda, and we will continue to do so for many years to come.
We are looking at a Uganda maybe in the next 5-10 years, where over maybe 5 or 10 million smallholder farmers can upgrade from being smallholder to at least middleholder farmers. That means they will have increased their productivity, household income will have also increased, and eventually will be working towards SDG 1 and 2, zero hunger and no poverty. My name is Emmanuel Twesije. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Everland Agritech Limited. Everland is basically a B2B digital platform. We support smallholder farmers access climate resilient seeds, maize and beans to be specific. They plant on credit and then they flexibly pay back to us when they have harvested. Our vision as Everland basically is to revolutionize small-scale farming. Why we want to do that is that smallholder farmers in the whole of actually Africa contribute over 75% to food security, yet they are the least funded among all the other farmers. The greatest impact we've had is on farmers' productivity, or what we can call output. Because previously farmers would plant, say, 10 kilograms of beans, and the highest they would harvest was around maybe 30, maybe 40 at max. But with the seeds that we give them, and remember these are our organic seeds, they are not GMOs. We're trying to preserve our natural organic seeds. So in 10 kilograms, they harvest up to 120. Being part of ST4A program has really been a game changer for us as Everland Agritech Limited. To give a brief testimony is that after preparing myself and the books of accounts, I was able to qualify for different programs, which include the SAIS Investor Readiness Program. They asked for the very documents which we had gone through in the ST4A program and prepared and put in place as Everland Agritech Limited. So it's been a big blessing to us and a game changer, and we are still using the same knowledge to continue taking our product far and wide.
It is very, very key that we iron out the issues that are affecting investment readiness in our ecosystem by having all the different players in one room.
Hive Collab is an incubation hub that provides co-working space, mentorship and support, as well as build startups and entrepreneurs.
We have made a lot of strides when it comes to investment because generally we have had startups under the Youth Startup Academy raise close to $1.5 million in investment. And some of the notable examples of startups include Yunga. We have also Bring of Fresh, and most recently, Easy Ride. We have also supported them as a program where we have like 13 startups that have benefited from $200K US dollars as a donation to help them boost businesses. And we have seen a lot of growth where people have reported having a revenue boost of nearly 2% or 10% increase in their revenue as a result of the boost that has come from that money that was donated to these startups.
Why we partnered with Einstein Rising on the Kampala Impact Day is because of our shared commitment and dedication towards providing entrepreneurs and startups with the right tools and resources to succeed.
What is really happening in the corridors is you'll find a lot of investors complaining that there is no pipeline. But on the other end, when you're interacting with the startups, there are startups telling you, oh, we do not have investors. So in order for us to be able to solve that disconnect is to be in a room where we have all the investors and the other ecosystem players, plus also the startups, to establish where the problem is. And that way we can be able to make the right tailored masterclasses to help them understand what the real problem is and be able to solve it. It is very, very key that we iron out the issues that are affecting investment readiness in our ecosystem by having all the different players in one room.
Hive Collab is an incubation hub that provides co-working space, mentorship and support, as well as build startups and entrepreneurs.
We have made a lot of strides when it comes to investment because generally we have had startups under the Youth Startup Academy raise close to $1.5 million in investment. And some of the notable examples of startups include Yunga. We have also Bring of Fresh, and most recently, Easy Ride. We have also supported them as a program where we have like 13 startups that have benefited from $200K US dollars as a donation to help them boost businesses. And we have seen a lot of growth where people have reported having a revenue boost of nearly 2% or 10% increase in their revenue as a result of the boost that has come from that money that was donated to these startups.
Why we partnered with Einstein Rising on the Kampala Impact Day is because of our shared commitment and dedication towards providing entrepreneurs and startups with the right tools and resources to succeed.
What is really happening in the corridors is you'll find a lot of investors complaining that there is no pipeline. But on the other end, when you're interacting with the startups, there are startups telling you, oh, we do not have investors. So in order for us to be able to solve that disconnect is to be in a room where we have all the investors and the other ecosystem players, plus also the startups, to establish where the problem is. And that way we can be able to make the right tailored masterclasses to help them understand what the real problem is and be able to solve it.
The International Trade Center, in short ITC, is a joint WTO, which is a World Trade Organization, and a UN agency actually, that really focuses on making trade work for people on the ground, really with a big focus on exports. And in Uganda, we have been running several projects, but particularly we are one of the implementing partners of the Youth Startup Academy of Uganda, which is a joint initiative between the ITC and the Korea SMEs and Startups Agency, the Ministry of Startups and SMEs in the Republic of Korea. And of course, working alongside the government of Uganda through NITA Uganda, and of course, local implementing partner, which is Hive Collab. We believe that for businesses to be able to actually grow to a level where they're able to export and do trade cross-border, they really have to think about how to develop some of these internal capacities in terms of having the master to be able to do that. And investment really is a key aspect of that, making sure they have in order some of their finances to be able to attract the right investors that will allow them to be able to then grow and scale beyond borders. A lot of the entrepreneurs we've been supporting in Uganda, especially through YSU, I'll go through some of these investment readiness programs, ensuring that we support close to 1,000 Ugandan entrepreneurs through this program.
Era nebaza Katonda kutugayitaganya ni Mark bakoze omulimu munene ino mu bulamu bwaife. Amayina gange nize Catherine Nabugo, kandi member mu Mukuta Mixed Farmers Association. Tuli mu Mayuge district. Mbaire mu kulima kuno okumala emyaka 18. Nga Mark bakali kuida kutuwa misomo egyo. Nali nimanga ekanamba. Nafuna mwensawo 2. Aye Mark baida ni batusomesa enime y'omulembe nti ekikolo lino okutaamu ensigo ndala ate the right spacing kati nsobola okukungula ensawo 10 kuba engeri yebatusomesaamu bw'okozesa organic fertilizer n'okola ni spacing eyo amakungula gabaawo. Abantu kuno bafuirwa ine emere aye saawa eno bajja okulinga ku nimiro yange ngeri just okay. Aye Mark basoboire otusomesa engeri yetusobola okuyiza obuyaka eitaka lyaife. Batusomesa organic fertilizer. Nze nja naleeta ebisubi bino ebikaire, naleeta ivu, naleeta kawodanga, naleeta ebisubi, naleeta enankani emigogo, natematemamu, najani old compost yona natabikamu, nakireka awo okumala eibanga lya myezi 3 kyabanga kivuire mu fertilizer mwene omulungi. Ekisobola okutuyamba singa Mark batugemeraku ni batusobozesa okufuna pumps dino edisobola okupampinga mu biseera ebyakasana, dasobola okupampinga amaadi ago twafukirira enimiro daife. N'ekindi amaadi egatoona amangi batuwabulemu nti amaadi wegatoona amangi tukola tuti, twakola tuti, twabona nga ebimera bijja mu maiso waira amaadi mangi oba kutuwa nsigo ng'edde edigumira amaadi amangi kyona tikibi. Kale mpulira ekisano lingi ino okubona nti nsobola okubaaku nikyenkola ekyamakulu. Mark project ebeewo bana.
My name is Anna Namuli. I am the Managing Director of Napa's Agro Processors. It's located here in Kampala, Uganda. We major in processing juice, call it snap juice. It's made from mango and pineapples. We pack it in 300 milliliter bottles and we sell it all over central Uganda. Our competitive advantage at Napa's is that we are producing something that is originally made out of natural fruits. I got to know about the Irovo workshops through actually a friend. I've attended multiple and through that I've been able to meet with other entrepreneurs. We got 30,000 euros from Irovo and all that went into funding our bigger line. Currently we use 750 liter capacity machinery and we are upgrading to a 5,000 liter capacity. With the expansion that we are doing, we want to go all over East Africa. We are using all forms of marketing from above the line to social media, to influencers, to word of mouth, everybody. From this business, we've been able to impact a bunch of people. We are employing almost 50 people across, from the farm to people who work here in production, to people who do marketing. And we are looking at increasing that number significantly. I am very, very glad for the impact that I've been able to do through this company. It makes me very happy and very proud of myself and the team that I work with. And I hope that with the support from Irovo and other partners, we shall make this better. In 2024, we hope that by the end of the year, we shall be in our new facility, which is much bigger and better. We shall be processing a bit more than we are doing right now.
As nappers, in the next 5 years, we hope to be producing at least 5 million liters of juice annually. To all Ugandan entrepreneurs and aspiring entrepreneurs, I'd like to invite you to take advantage of this opportunity with the Erovo. They have very, very, very good opportunities from mentorship to coaching to so many impact days that they organize. So please follow them on social media, look out for them, and join Instant Rising.
My name is Ethan Bampere, and I'm the co-founder and CEO at Nixa AI. You basically put it on your website or integrate with your social media handles for your business. And what it does is basically like a human responds to your inquiries on your behalf, follows up with your customers, and basically makes sure that you close the deal. What makes Nixa a difference is when a conversation happens between a user and a business, our AI is basically able to analyze the conversation, determine whether this person needs to be followed up or not. Its job is basically to close sales for you 24/7 without you actually being there to monitor it. We've been in business for about 1.5 years now. We've had a number of businesses that have increased their sales, one of them being Purifier, who is our lovely customer. They increased their sales by over 52%. The other impact that we've made, which we are really proud of, we've seen people who don't know how to speak English or they're not fluent in English asking questions, simply because the AI was there and it could speak multiple languages. As the Nixa team, we're looking forward to the masterclasses. We're looking to networking with potential investors, believe that there will be a number of businesses that we can actually collaborate with, businesses that we can actually serve.
A bean-to-bar chocolate is not an everyday chocolate or the chocolates you meet on the streets. These are chocolates that are sourced ethically from the roots up to the time of the bar. My name is Gloria Msimeta Wendy. I work for Nayo Chocolates Uganda Company Limited. I am a co-founder as well as a team leader when it comes to production. Nayo Chocolates was started in 2021 where we add value to products that come from cocoa. Cocoa